Alright, so the underground power lithium battery I chose to go with for my system. Figured to do a quick unboxing video. I hope you enjoyed that. Gonna go ahead and get it installed in my system today and test it out. So check out the links in the description if you want all the details about this battery and the company. Really nice battery for the price point. That's why I chose to go with it. And I like the look and I feel safe, and it's just plug and play. So this is a LiFePO battery. It is 14.8 volt max charging system, and it has a cool little LED system here that I'm trying on real quick. Just connect it to the power and it turns on. And I'm actually really happy with the results. You'll see at the end of the video kind of how it does. Took these screenshots real quick to show you that they offer the 40, 80, 60, and 100 amp hour different ratings with a max voltage of 14.8 volts. I'm only using a 400 amp alternator. Definitely would benefit with dual alt setup, but currently I'm only at one. So it'll actually benefit for how much power I'm running and testing for this video. So, and you'll see that. So really nice battery for the Bang. Also, I have a chart here I'm about to show you that kind of shows you the different rating and options if you do decide to go with this type of option. It's pretty cool. They have all of these things right here in front of the website, so I can dig in and kind of see what options I wanted to choose with. I'm looking forward to getting this actually installed in my system in a minute, and I'm actually recording as I do it. But before that, just want to look at a couple more quick things on the website, show you around. And before that, just want to say shout out to Underground Power. Nice job with a good bang for your buck option to choose for lithium for the cardio world today, and I'm looking forward to see how this does this year. So on the website, actually, you can pause it and slow down if you want to see more details. Just go through it real quick to kind of see all the specifications, the warranty, the terms, and really everything possible that you need to know about this battery, because I don't know. All I know is plug and play, and it works for my system, and I haven't had any issues. And we're going to find out how it does, so stay tuned. Alright, so let's check out the voltage real quick. This is a brand new battery, so we'll see how it was shipped at. That's 13.6, which is good. Anything below 13.9, 13.8 would be bad for lithium. AGM, that would be high. You would never really see this unless it came out from already being charged or your alternator hookup. So that's good. Got my tape measure here. Check the measurements real quick. So this is the 100 amp hour, as I mentioned earlier. So right over 20, so 20.5 inches is the length for this. The depth is, don't want to cross metal, so it says 7 for the depth, and then the height is right at, you can see it's 7, and then with the bus bars and the bolts it's 8.5 almost for the height. So really good footprint space. It's amazing what lithium has today versus what it used to be. And this is the LiFePO 4 cells. All the details in the description for pricing and every other detail you want to know about what type of lithium and ratings and different options. So got to check that out. Really exciting to get this thing installed today, and we'll see how it does on my system as well. So let me get it installed. All right, so here's the back of my wall. 418s behind this wall build. If y'all haven't seen the videos on my build update, I have a whole playlist on the channel, my setup playlist for 2022 as well as 2021. Recommend checking it out. Going to be putting the battery right here. I put a little bit of tape down on top of some 2x4s just so it doesn't get scratched up on some of the critical points. And I've got 2 grounds here, and then I've got 2 grounds from the alternator chassis, and I'll show you the other wiring in a minute. Let me go ahead and get this thing put in, and I'll show you the front. All right, so it should be a snug fit to fit right in. Snug fit. There we go. Pretty. Looks really good. So snug fit. I want it to be tight, so that way this would actually be able to pull in and keep this right on. And so I have the 2 grounds I mentioned here hooking up. So these grounds aren't really recommended. So anybody that's working on electrical upgrades, always run at least 1 or 2 runs or more, depending on your power, to your alternator. So I'll show you up front in a minute. But I just got 2 grounds. I just grinded off and put on the actual factory sheet. Not recommended, but looking forward to finding out the results on this on my amplifier I'm going to be putting out. So I'm going to be putting my amplifier rack right here. It's just going to be sets of 2x6s, 2 of them right here. And then I can set my amp or my amps depending on upgrades in the future, and all of my wiring right here. So I've got 3 runs of power that are going to be hooked up to it as well. Then I got my 4-channel amp power, and of course my amplifier hookups that go to it. So Highly recommend to always double up anytime you're doing any kind of wiring if you can. A little bit more expense on the wiring side and install side, but highly recommended. So let's look up underneath the hood real quick. I have 3 runs. This is not the prettiest, but works. I have 3 runs of 0 gauge fused with 250 amp fuses here. I've used these suckers for 4 years with OFC wire, no issues. Lithium battery delete. Since I'm running lithium, 100 amp hour of the underground power, I have a lithium battery to delete. It's literally just a couple pieces of 2x4 where the battery spot was, and I had some terminals to mount to, and that's how it's ran. I have the big 5 done, or big 3, big 4, depending on who you are. I have 2 runs of ground to the engine block. I've got 2 ground runs to the alternator block. I have 2 power runs to the alternator block, and then I have 2 ground runs to the back battery. So 2 of these runs are going to the back battery. Those are the 2 that I showed you earlier, the 2 power, and I kept my stock wiring as well. The reason I did that is because just in case any issues or I remove it, I still have my stock wire. And I have a 410 amp alternator. So the alternator will be utilized for this. So I'm not doing a dual alt setup. Having the 100 amp hour, it shines after 600 plus amps charging. Probably going to see around 3 to 320 to the battery, and then 60 to 80 to the vehicle. So 300 plus amp charge, rev to 1800 plus RPM. So that's how my front's looking. Let's get back to the back. All right, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get everything hooked up and installed. There is a little LED thing here I could actually turn on, and you have the LEDs in here. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna use that feature. Pretty cool that that's a little extra feature if you want to hook it up and install that. So gonna go ahead and get this thing installed. All right, so I got my 3 powers installed, my little 4-channel lamp installed, my 2 grounds to my little chassis ground location, and then my 2 to the alternator. Gonna go ahead and tighten all of these up, as well as go up front, install the fuses on the power, and do my first turn on. Okay, so I just got my fuses up front hooked up and everything tightened down on the areas that I bolted down. Gonna go ahead and see how the voltage does with the alternator first turn on, and of course battery's not completely charged up, so I'm gonna let my truck run for about 10 to 12 minutes. Best option to do usually when you get a new lithium is to have the actual charger, but I've in the last 7 years between AGM and lithium never done that, never had any problems, and as long as you maintain them there shouldn't be problems, but highly recommended. A charger is definitely a plus. So let me go start this real quick. Okay, so first turn on is good. It took about 5 seconds for my truck to start first time, very normal. Battery was disconnected for at least a day, so let's go ahead and let this thing sit and charge for a little while, and I'm going to go ahead and get everything else installed, get my amplifier rack installed off camera, and I'll get back with y'all with the end result. Alright, so I've got my amplifier right here on the 100 amp hour lithium installed, so I'm going to be measuring the amperage clamped, the voltage coming through the positive clamp wire of my 418 speaker system. I also have my meter here to look at my voltage drop. I'm going to be in the vehicle. I'm going to do a 47 hertz 7 to 8 second burst full tilt, and then I'm going to do a 26 hertz full tilt, and we'll see what the clamping numbers are, how my voltage drop is. Revved probably around 280 to 290 amps of alternator, so definitely a little low for this 100 amp hour lithium, but it'll give me some real world perspective and also see my clamping numbers. So these 2 numbers I'll talk about afterward. So you're going to multiply the numbers and divide them for your impedance rise, find out how much RMS clamping number is. And this is a pretty close measure, so here we go. Alright, so that was the first test. Now let's do the second test. I realized I didn't have max on this, but I'll go ahead and screenshot the highest for that 47 test. Now the max will pick up for the low frequency test, and we'll see how it does on this one. Alright, so definitely nice having that clamp meter with the max. So now let me go ahead and find out these numbers for y'all. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Also, just to confirm, in case somebody might say, well, the battery wasn't there. The battery was right here, so 100 amp hour lithium. Pretty good voltage, mid 13s, and of course that's around 280 amps. And I wasn't revving 100% always, so it might have been stock, not stock, but around 1200 RPM. Because it's hard when I'm in there, it's really loud. So single amplifier here on this test, so really impressive. All right, so here's a snapshot. Left side is the 47 hertz, right side is the 26 hertz test. That's my clamped number I clamped. This is pretty efficient, not 100%, but pretty close. I only have around 260 to 280 estimated amp alt support coming actually to the system when I rev it at 1800 RPM when it's hot. So I'm actually pretty nice and happy with these results. It definitely would do a little better if I had a second alternator. So having a dual alt setup helps, and this hopefully helps show you that this actually does do rated for the battery. And of course it depends on your alt support. Alternator support is very critical for these lithium batteries. And as I add more alternator power later, maybe it may give more support and better voltage supply. So looking forward to the multiple videos to come for this battery with more tests and updated power as I add more amplifiers or more alternators in the future. So stay tuned. Once again, shout out to Underground Power. Check out their link in the description for all the information, and stay tuned for more videos. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.